beings, thanks so much for tuning in. Alexis here for another yoga class courtesy of Brain, Body, Breath Yoga. Today we will be doing a little yoga for spinal health and mobility. So we'll be practicing a little stability and also mobility. Stability means we will be adding a little touch of strength in our practice today. So get ready to engage those muscles for just a little bit. We'll also work a little bit on our hips. Of course, spine health kind of translates to hip health. If the hips are not in agreement, then we're going to transfer that up to our low back and such. So we'll dabble in a little bit of both. Let's get started. I'm going to turn toward the foot of my mat. We'll start with some salutation, but first let's build our mountain pose. Let's make sure that the feet are about hip width apart, toes are facing forward. We'll ground down through the soles of the feet. We'll lift up through the crown of our head. Bring your awareness to your low ribs or your belly button, and we'll gently pull that in. Slide the shoulders down the back, and we'll maybe bring our awareness to our quads, the tops of our thighs, and imagine pressing them back a little bit to engage our quads. And here it is, our first practice in spinal stability, this nice erect posture, sliding the shoulders down the back so we can build good posture. So just take a few moments and a couple deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth, whatever feels best, to settle into this nice supportive posture. Mountain pose, stability like a mountain, reaching up, lifting up like a mountain. So what does that mean for you? What does that feel like for you in your body? A couple more breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you're ready, we'll slowly start to add some movement coming into our sun salutation. As you're ready, soft bend or deep bend in the knees. We'll send the hands down, around, and up. Reaching up through both sides of the body. Hands come together in prayer. And we'll bring the belly button to the spine. Knees are soft or deeply bent, and we'll find our fold here. Of course, if this class interests you, you probably have some things going on in the back. So if that's you today, bring your hands to the tops of your thighs and press them in, and we'll take a little pressure off the low back. Good. Let's slowly inhale into our half bend. And then on the exhale, we'll find that fold once again. Maybe the hands stay on the thighs, or if we have it, we'll go for that full fold. Good. Next week, inhale, soften in the knees. We'll send the hands down, around, and up. Once again. And on the exhale, thumbs stay up. We'll slide the hands down to our sides. So coming into a side bend. So again, if we're here, probably dealing with something in the spine. So we'll take this nice and slow and easy, gauging every step of the way, building that nice supportive practice. So we'll start with just sliding one hand down the length of our thigh, feeling that side bend come on. And this may be all you need today. So check in with that. And then if you have a little bit more, we can send that same hand as our bend overhead. Good. We can look up or down, whatever feels best on the neck. And then once you're here, if you're here, you may want to add a little more. Pop the hand into the hip, no biggie there if we skip it. We're checking in, we're breathing, we're finding that slight initial tug of the muscle and hanging out there. No more, no less. If we want to feel that stretch, but not so much that we break. Then slowly inhale and lift up. And if the hand was lifted, we'll slowly let it fall down. Thumb is reaching up. And we'll check in with that second side. So building from the ground up, slide that hand down, check in on this side of the body. Could be very different today, especially if you're dealing with some restrictions. So check it out. And if we can do more, if the body says it's okay. How do we know the body says it's okay? We check in with the breath. We check in with the mind. If the breath isn't full, if the mind is spiraling, if we were not being let into our bodies, probably an indication that we need to do less. So we'll come up a little less, move from a place of fullness and balance, and slowly inhale and lift up. And we'll exhale and unwind. Take a moment to let that settle. Maybe revisit your mountain pose. Sometimes we like to scrunch down, kind of compress when we're landing. So if you lost it, find the crown of your head, find your shoulders sliding down, and we'll lift up. Good, and then on the next big inhale, we'll lead with the thumbs facing up. Hands come in line with the shoulders, maybe a little bit ahead. Or if we have it, maybe we send them slightly behind. We'll open up the chest. And then on the exhale, we'll give ourselves a big hug, dropping the shoulders in, hands inside the shoulders, chin to chest. And we'll allow the back of the neck to stretch and the shoulders to separate and release. Take a moment to let that action settle. Could be intense, so feel free to back up on that angle if you like. And then if it feels good on your next exhale, we'll slowly start to rock side to side, initiating a gentle spinal rotation. Again, checking here. We want to put a soft bend in our knees, belly button toward the spine. Exhaling when we twist, so we'll protect our low back as we stretch it and open it and mobilize it. A couple more, it's nice and gentle. Following the breath, gentle twisting, gentle waking up of that spine. And then we'll slowly bring it back to center. Inhale, open up, thumbs leading. Maybe we open up a little more, send the thumbs slightly behind. And then on the exhale, if you can remember, we'll cross. I honestly never do, but it's okay. It's still a nice hug. Catch your shoulders in your hands. Drop your chin to chest if that feels good. And here we just appreciate being able to fold into ourselves in this moment. Taking a big inhale in and a soft, slow exhale out. Allow yourself to melt and release a little here. When you are ready, this time on the next inhale, we'll gently lift the shoulders, the elbows up just a touch. We'll get into the triceps and a little bit into our lats. Back muscle gets tight, creates problems. And then we'll exhale and unwind. Good, let's drop the hands down here. And then we'll guide them down to the tops of our thighs, going into a deeper side bend, or fold. Going into a deeper fold. And with a twist. So we're going to very slowly, hands on the tops of the thighs, slide them down in line with the knees, and then we'll slowly bend the left knee, left hand inside, or your favorite, which side you're working on, left knee or right. Hand goes inside, opposite hand reaches out to the side, gaze, check, inhale, and then on the exhale, belly button the spine, protect that spine. We'll send that hand up as far as it will go without creating pain. We have a deep bend in the hand, or in the leg that's supporting the hand, and then a soft bend in the opposite leg. So we're not locking ourselves out of our bodies. If we want to do less, we can come up higher. And of course, if we want to do more, maybe we go all the way down, but we're gauging, checking with that breath, move from a place of balance where everything is working together to help you. And if we feel we're working against ourselves, do a little less. Find that place where we can work together. And then we'll slowly exhale. As you're ready, find both hands to the tops of your thighs. And we'll slowly roll up to the top. Good. Let's keep the hands on the tops of the thighs here. We're going to do a fun little move, which is actually called No Money Honey. You can see why. So No Money Honey starts like this. We inhale at the bottom. And then on the exhale, we bring the elbows close to our sides. We pinch the shoulder blades back. And we go, no money, honey. There it is. It's silly, but it's a good move to help us train our scapulas to hold our shoulders open rather than forward. So let's check it out again. Inhale and exhale. Pinch the shoulder blades together just slightly. Good, one more. Inhale and exhale. Elbows tight toward the ribs, and we gently open up through the chest. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Good. And then as you're ready, we'll slowly bring the hands down to our sides. Let that settle in just a little bit. Maybe invite in some shoulder rolls. So let that go entirely. Feeling the space. And then as you're ready, we'll get into some neck rolls or neck definitely rather. Cervical spine, also a part of our spine, our neck, so we have to take care of that as well. Let's reach the fingertips down so we get that downward shrug in our shoulder blades. Reaching the crown up, big inhale. And then on the exhale, keeping the shoulders away from the ears, slowly turn to your capacity, chin toward one shoulder. Inhale, we'll rotate it back to center. And exhale, second side. Nice and slow, using our breath. If we feel anything inhaling back to center that feels unreasonably uncomfortable, exhale, chin to ceiling. Numbness, tingling, clicking, popping with pain. We definitely want to do a little less there so we can breathe a little more. Get a little more into our body. Inhale, center. And then on the exhale, we can lower an ear toward a shoulder, keeping the shoulders down. And we'll slowly inhale and lift. And check in second side. And we'll slowly inhale and lift. And then on the exhale, bringing your attention to the tip of your nose, we're going to slowly draw small circles with the tip of our nose. So this prevents us from going around and round. We're kind of going like our nose is following the numbers on a clock rather than circling like a topsy-turvy. So that's the difference. And so take a couple moments here just feeling that space. You can change the direction of your circles. Big, full breaths so we can find that place of balance. Breath full, mind quieting, and we're being led into our bodies. And on the next big exhale, let's let that go. Very good. Let's take it back down to the mat. We'll start with a sun salutation. Big inhale, reaching up. Soft exhale, belly button to spine, deepen or not in the knees. Hands on the thighs if we need here, support the back. Inhale, half bend. And we'll exhale and we'll fold. And then we'll very slowly step the legs back into a lunge. And then we'll drop that knee down to come into crescent lunge. So this is our hip opening at this in this posture. Of course, if the hips are tight, they can pull on the back in so many different ways. So we definitely want to make sure we're opening up our hips when we talk about back health and stability and mobility, because that will hinder both if our hips are tight. So we're going to take a moment to find that nice opening in the hips, allowing it to sink, knees above the ankle. Good. Belly buttons to spine, support our back. And then as you're ready, we'll lead with the thumbs up and overhead for full crescent lunge. This may give us a deeper opening in that back hip. So gauge it out every step of the way. If I'm feeling pain, we are honest. We do a little less so we can get a little more. And if we're feeling that tension, that release of that hip, try to find a way to breathe through that and allow that muscle to soften and relax. Good. And as you're ready, we'll add on. We'll take the opposite hand of the leg that's behind to the back of that thigh, coming into an exalted warrior. We'll send that thumb back a little more, maybe arch the heart up and out a little more. And then on the next exhale, we'll come into a twist. Another twist here, twisting very good for the spine, helps us to alleviate back pain. Let's rotate that rib cage up toward the ceiling, press the mat away underneath us. Big inhale, stretch the head away from the tail. We're being space in the spine. Good, and then adding on here, as you're ready, on the next big exhale, we can lift the chest, and this is gonna take a little bit of strength here, so imagine that action coming from your rib cage, belly button goes to spine. We hug that belly button in and lift up through our midsection, lift up through our core. Nice, and if you wanna do a little more here, we can tuck that back foot and come up into a full twist, but we don't have to do that. Keep the thumbs facing forward. We'll hold here for a couple more breaths, rotating that rib cage back, grounding down heavily through your foundation. Good, and then on the next exhale, we'll spiral it down. If the leg was lifted, take it back into crescent lunge. And then we'll shift the hips back so that we can stretch our hamstrings. Flex the toe toward your forehead, big toe toward the forehead, sit the hips back, belly goes to spine. Very important to make sure we are protecting our back. And we'll settle here. Hamstrings. Another thing, not really a hip muscle, but if it's tight, it will pull on the glutes, which is a hip muscle, which will pull on your back. So everything is all connected here. Soften your shoulders, soften your elbows. Reach the crown forward, one more big in. And big out. And then very slowly lean forward. Maybe check out that crescent lunge one last time before we send that knee in. Now let's open the knees wide here. We'll rest in child's pose for just a moment before we do that on the second side. This will help us to stretch our back a little more, open the hips a little more. You can bring your forehead to the mat and take a couple nice, big, deep belly breaths in and out. Maybe take this time to check in with the thoughts, noticing what's going on in that inner world, noticing what kinds of thoughts are swirling around in that inner world. And then maybe deciding on your next exhale to use your breath to bring some space in between you and those thoughts. So we can get deeper into our body, engaging with the body and the breath and not those narratives in the brain. Then as you're ready, slowly reach up through the crown. We'll bring it into tabletop, and then we'll send that opposite leg forward, coming into our crescent lunge second side. So again, building all the time from the ground up, so take it one step at a time. Sending the hips, letting the hips sink down, finding your place in space, knee over ankle, belly button to spine. And then when you're ready, send the hands up. Maybe the hips sink down a little more, but not so much that we lose that integrity in our low spine. So we don't want to be like this, just so we can get that hip further down. Looks very nice, not very functional. So check in there. Good. And then as you're ready, we'll initiate, got a little turned around there, we'll initiate exalted warrior, leading with the thumbs. Maybe it goes a little bit back and behind belly button and spine. And we'll exhale into that side bend, rotating the rib cage up, sliding the shoulders down, pressing the mat away underneath, stretching the head away from the tail. And then adding on that little strength, we'll send the belly button to spine and send the shoulders up into a deeper twist. We can stay here if we have a little more. We're going to untuck the toe and come up into a full lunge with a twist. Your version. Thumbs are leading, crown is lifting up, breath is full, and if it's not, let's find it. Good. Here for a little longer. And then as you're ready, we'll slowly exhale down. Windmill those hands down. Drop the knee. And we'll take it back into half splits, getting into the hamstring, flexing the toe. Belly to spine, we fold over that leg. Soft shoulders, soft elbows. Feeling that stretch along the back of the leg. Find your space, we can stay up or go down a little further. No forcing, no straining, we're feeling. If we're straining, we're probably not breathing. So just gauge that. And then as you're ready, we'll maybe check out that lunge, crescent lunge one last time before we send that leg back. Let's come into tabletop. Good, and then we'll very slowly check in with your posture. Make sure the knees are underneath the hips, the wrists are underneath the shoulders. And we're gonna do a little spinal stability here, a little strength, going into bird dog. As you are ready, here we go. We're gonna very slowly press the mat away underneath us with the right hand. We're gonna unroll the left, and we're gonna extend the right and lift it up. Try to draw a line from heel to tail. Belly button is tight toward the spine. We press the mat away, engaging that shoulder stability, building back strength here, very important. We need to be stable as much as we need to be mobile. And we'll slowly exhale it down. Stay for the inhale. And then we'll lift. Take it slow. If we are building a practice, especially a strength practice, this could be a little challenging. So if you like, you can slowly just slide the leg back, lifting the hand up. I really want you to focus on belly button, the spine though, and then drawing that line so that we can make sure we're engaging spinal stability wherever you find yourself today. Just a couple more. A little bit of strength here. We always like to say we bend so we don't break in yoga. And I like to say, I know it's very corny, but I like to say stability, stable, so we don't shake. And we definitely don't want to be shaking when we need things to be stable. Think about a bridge, think about a building. We don't want a shaky building or a bridge, right? So check in with there. Let's do a couple more rounds on each side. So one more each side to even it out. Following the breath. Belly button goes to spine each time we lift. Good. And we'll slowly bring the hands a little bit ahead of our shoulders. Belly button goes to spine. We'll softly bend the elbows as we roll up into cobra or up dog. Up dog, elbows are extended, shoulders are soft. And cobra, elbows are bent, shoulders still soft. Engage your glutes, gently press the hips down, lift up through the chest. Inhale, take. And exhale, tuck the toes, and we'll send it back into child's pose. Maybe bring your hands to your heels here, just to release your shoulders a little bit. And then as you're ready, we'll come up once again into bird dog, but with a variation. So we talked about hip health. So we're gonna add stability and mobility for our hips. So let's send that belly button toward the spine, finding that nice stable flat back. We'll find our bird dog on one side. Toes can stay down or we'll lift them. And then we'll slowly send the arm in line with the shoulder, and maybe the foot goes in line with the hip. That. And we'll slowly inhale and release. Check in second side, your version. If the toes are connected, then we're here. Can still get it done. And back. Good. Let's do one more on each side, leg lifted or not. Of course, if you want to do a little more, do a little more. Don't wait to do the more if you have it. As long as we can find that breath, we can get a nice workout without straining ourselves. Then I say go for it. Okay, let's do one more. Lifting, finding that stability, pressing the mat away, belly to spine, and then opening. Good. Send it back and lower. From here, let's go into cat-cow. Pressing the mat away, belly button goes to spine, the arch, tuck the chin, tuck the tail. And inhale, we'll lift the chest and lift the tail. Doesn't get any better than cat-cow for spinal health. It articulates, it brings back the natural curves of the spine. It follows the way the breath moves the way the spine moves when we breathe. And it's also a nice releasing of the spine. So pretty multifaceted as far as spinal health goes. So settle in here. Should feel really good after that little bit of strength that we added. Couple more rounds. Your version. And then when you're ready, we can slowly let that go. Coming back to a neutral spine. And then we'll very slowly initiate a side bend by bringing one shoulder toward the same hip. Opening up that side body, opening up those obliques, which might feel really good because we just used them, believe it or not, to move that leg out to the side. One more each side. Feeling that side body stretch. And release. you're ready, we'll sit back onto the hips. And we'll swing the legs around and we'll come into 90-90 pose. So let's try to make 90-degree angles with our legs. I like to line up with the parallel lines on my mat. Of course, you may need to move some flesh if you're in a body that needs to do that. So we'll do that. And if you want to do a little less, we can close those angles. We'll bring the legs together, the foot towards the back knee. So we'll gauge that. Give yourself time to settle in here. Nice hip opener, 90-90 pose. Shoulders over the hips. Just allow that to settle in the back. I usually find that the back hip gets a little tighter for me, or I feel it a little more in the back hip than I do on the front. So we'll just gauge that, and if we need to do a little less, we'll be honest and close that angle so we can get deeper into our bodies. Good. From here, we'll take a big inhale. And then on the exhale, we'll slowly send the inside hand up. Outside hand presses down next to the hip. And we're going to go into stargazer, reaching up, opening the hips, reaching that thumb up and behind just a touch. Feel your hip creases opening, separating. Gently squeeze your glutes to open that hip crease even more. And then we'll slowly exhale. And if it feels good, both hands can go in front of the shin. We'll release the back here into a fold. Find your breath, soft shoulders, soft elbows. We always want the shoulders to be soft. You don't want to be shrugging the shoulders. That again can contribute to dysfunction in our back. So settle in, a couple more breaths, allowing everything to soften and release. Just like the breath rises and falls, that tension will rise and it will fall too. Pain is a little different, but tension, it'll rise and fall. And then when you're ready, we can slowly walk the hands back in. And then we'll do a little windshield wiping at center to release that. If you want to check in with your mobility here, we can try to do it, your hip mobility, we can try to do that without the hands. And just allow the hips to roll from side to side. And then we'll take that toward the opposite side. Take your time getting there. Good. Checking in, do we need 90-90 or should we do a little less because our body is saying things to us, our mind is planting things and our breath is full, and we'll just do a little less. No biggie. No biggie. Sometimes less is really more. I know we hate sayings because we think that they're cliche, but I found in my life that a lot of those cliche sayings, are true and said so many times because they're always relevant. So just my little 2 cents there. Let's build our stargazer pose, reaching up through with the inside hand. Back hand goes right next to that back hip, and we lift. Good. Your version, big lift or small. Opening up those hips. Gently press the glutes in to lift the hips further. Gently press. And exhale. And slowly release. Then we'll windshield wipe once again. Just to let that go out of the body. You can use your hands here if you like. Swinging it side to side. And then as you're ready, we'll slowly turn and come on to our back. We're going to do a little more strength, stability, and mobility. Another stability and mobility drill on the mat. So take your time getting there. If we have back problems, we can use our hands to lower us down. Then we'll slowly hug our knees into chest. Just release the low back here. Good. And then once the knees come into chest, we'll bring them over the hips. Belly button goes toward the spine. So we're going to work on our core here. So let's slide the shoulders down the back. Already feeling our core work just from weaving the knees over the hips. Core is a part of our back. Our core wraps all the way around. It's not just these muscles here. It wraps all the way around the back. And we need that core stability. So we're going to try to build that a little bit here too. We're going to come into dead bug. So let's send the hands up in front. If we want to do more, we can extend the legs long. Then we'll very slowly lower opposite hand, opposite leg, just like we did in our bird dog. Here, we want to keep the back stable onto the mat. So remember that corny saying we stay stable so we don't shake. Now we'll see what we mean here. So if we're shaking in this, of course we're building strength, but we want to hunker down that belly button even more. Press the back into the mat with the core even more to keep us from shaking as little as possible. Let's add on that hip mobility move. Here we go. Legs are extended, and then we'll open one leg out and one arm to the side. Brain exercise to send it together. And second side. Good. Nice. Let's do one more each side. Belly button stays tight. Legs stay right over hips. We got this. Open. As far down as we can go while keeping the back on the mat. And center. And last time, open. And center. Good. Let's lower the legs. We'll extend one up. So we can grip behind the thigh here, flex the toe and then point. And then bring your hand to your side, your sides, check in with your shoulders. And we're just gonna draw small circles here. Big or small circles. So this is spinal mobility, hip mobility, excuse me. Also spine, because we're keeping the back stable. So stability, mobility. We need both. Let's do 2 more circles, keeping that back on the mat, keeping the breath full. One more, big or small. And then we'll slowly send that ankle over the opposite knee. Hands are at our sides, and we'll slowly, big exhale, press the hips up into a bridge, figure 4 bridge. Good. So we're building, again, getting into that stability, stretching the core, using our back, our posterior muscles to get us up. Use your breath, squeeze the glutes slightly at the top to keep the hips lifted, and exhale and release. Then unwind the leg, and we'll take it toward the second side. First with those circles. So we got about 4 to 6, nice and slow. Follow the breath. So that we can keep that back nice and stable by grounding our core, hugging those low ribs in, cinching them closed so we can get more mobility in that low body. Good. I think I have one more. And then we'll slowly cross the ankle over the opposite knee. Hands can come to our sides. Shoulders are spilling open. And we'll ground down through that stable foot to lift the hips up. Good. Squeezing the glutes at the top to keep the hips level. Okay, so we've got mobility in the hips, stability in the spine. Everything's working. One more breath. And slowly lower. Good. Nice. Now let's release that leg. Both feet come to the mat. Bring your hands to your feet. We'll see if we can graze our heels. Feet are as wide as the hips. And we'll check in with those shoulders. Once again, palms of the mat, palms to the mat, belly button to spine. We'll come into a full bridge here. Full bridge. Big in. Big out. Gently squeeze the glutes. Press down through the soles of the feet. Lift up through your back body. Big inhale. Big exhale. And slowly roll down. Nice. Let's send the knees into the chest. We'll hug them in. Relax the shoulders. Tuck your chin if it happens to creep up. Happens sometimes. And then we'll slowly lower our knees to one side of the mat to come into supine twist. Open the arms wide in your big T pose. Find your twist here, allowing your spine to rotate, shoulders to melt into the back. It needs to be heavy at one side. Adding on, when you're ready, a little thoracic mobility for our upper spine. We'll take our back hand, big inhale, and then as you're ready, we'll slowly clap them together. And then leading with the thumb, next big exhale, we'll send that hand back into place. But imagine you're reaching diagonally up to a corner. So we'll open that rotator cuff. Good, let's do two more. Inhaling, rolling onto both shoulders, and we'll clap. And exhaling, opening. And one more, inhale. Of course, if we feel pain here, we can skip it. And exhale. And then we'll hold our twist for a couple of breaths, allowing that action to settle. Maybe sending an exhale up to that chatter in the brain and blowing it away. Creating that space so we can engage with the body and the breath and less with the thoughts and the mind. And then as you're ready, slowly lift the knees up and over to the opposite side. Find our twist here, settling in. Hips are stacked, knees are stacked, shoulders are spilling open. Palms are facing up. Breath is full. Adding on here, our thoracic mobility. We take the back hand on an inhale toward the front. And big exhale. And unwind into your twist. Good. Let's do two more. And one more, reaching up into that corner. And holding. Find your space in your twist today. Feel free to use that hand to anchor down those knees even more. Get a deeper twist, deeper breath. And then as you're ready, when you're ready, we'll slowly bring the knees back to center. Maybe hug the knees in one last time toward the chest. Maybe bring the forehead to the knees. And we'll slowly extend the legs long. Hands are at our sides for our final posture. Shavasana. Let everything go. Let everything be. Let that work settle into and away from you. And breathe. Nothing but the breath.